Hi friends, I'm Jocelyn Peters. I'm the maker and designer behind Mountain Song Designs, and welcome to my channel. We'll be talking about designs, WIPs, FOs, and some really great books. So let's get started. The first thing I want to show you is both an FO and a design because I made a pair of my Echo Lodge socks in a kid size. How sweet are these? This is Lolodidit plush sock in Bumble and Once Upon a Time. I don't know if she'll ever die Once Upon a Time again, but I loved watching that show. I watched it all the way through and I adore the purple with the yellow. This is an extra pair that I made from my most recent pattern. Like I said, Echo Lodge socks, and here is the sample for it. How sweet is this? Look, the lace is mirrored on the socks. Now, if you've been watching for a little while, you may have already seen these a lot, but it's a toe-up sock, mustache yarn, lavender apple blossom, Leading Men Fiber Arts, breaking ground. So you have your contrast color for your heels, toes, and cuffs. It's toe up and it fits exactly like a heel flap and gusset because that's my favorite heel flap favorite fit of a sock, and so I had to figure out how to do it for toe up because I love toe up too. It's very similar to my Fade Into Neverland socks, but it has the different color here on the heel, and it's so sweet and so fun. And it's a quick knit. It goes by before you realize it because there's no picking up stitches or any of that kind of stuff. So it is a fun knit, and I enjoyed making these adorable tiny ones. Well, they're not that tiny, but they're smaller than mine, so they seem to go a little faster. So that is the first one. Let's move on to the next thing. This next thing I'm going to share with you is technically a WIP, but I have one of them finished, and it's going to be my next design that's coming out. It's an Echo Lodge mitt. It goes with the socks. As I was knitting those socks, I just kept thinking this needs to have mitts to go with it so I can wear the pair, and this yarn is just gorgeous. I love this yarn, the sweet simple lace. And this is a top down. So this is sort of a different way of knitting it than you normally do, sort of like the toe up socks. Some people are against toe up socks, and I happen to like both top down and toe up, but there are pros and cons to either way. Same with a fingerless mitt. Now this, you don't have to pick up any stitches for the thumb. You have this pretty lace, and look on the thumb. Oh, I can't turn my hand around. You have this pretty lace that goes down the thumb. My arm doesn't bend that way, sorry. But look at that. It's just so sweet. And I have the second one already going. It's almost done. I have ends to weave in. But yeah, so it'll be mirrored like the socks. And it's just been so fun. Light, nice knitting, and I've just really enjoyed it. So that's next. It's in testing right now, so we're working through that, and that'll be coming out here in just a couple weeks. So that's it for my designs, and let's move on to my other projects. I have two FOs that they count as FOs because technically I just finished them, but they have been almost done for so long. Check this guy out. I crocheted this little gator puppet. It was partly to help my kids learn greater than, less than, but I made it years ago and then never added eyes. This poor guy hasn't been able to see for years. So I finally just went and found the buttons, and I sewed them on last week, and so now he's done. This was really fun to make. I just started crocheting, and I enjoy making 3D objects and, you know, putting them together. I just find it really fun. And crochet, I think crochet is maybe my favorite for making 3D objects like this kind of a thing. Plus it's so thick and you know, I like the fabric for this kind of a thing. So I made this cute puppet and now he can see. So that's my first technical FO. And this is a follow-up because I shared this with you a few episodes ago and I forgot to show it last time. I put the buttons on. I put these sweet little unicorn buttons on this sweet little sweater. Isn't that lace just so pretty? That is Daily Fancy by Stephanie Lotven. It's such a sweet little pattern. It's so cute. And now it can be worn because it has buttons. So that is my other technical FO. And after that, I think it's all WIPs from here on out. So let's get to those. The two WIPs I have to share with you today are larger objects, so you've seen them a few episodes. They are taking some time and I'm enjoying my time with them, so I'm okay with it and I hope you are too. The first one is the Timely Sweater by Libby Jonson, or Truly Myrtle. I have worked into my second color pretty well. I'm getting close to the sleeve divide, so I'm excited about that. It's this lovely raglan cardigan. It's hard to see when it's all bunched up on the needles, but here it is. It's a fun knit. It's a knit that I can take with me and not have to think too much about. I'm sort of in a place with the increases I have to pay a little bit more attention, but oh, I'm so close to that sleeve divide, and I love the sleeve divide because once you get there, the body and the sleeves, I mean, with the exception of probably some decreases, but for the most part, you just knit, you know, just get the stockinette and go the whole way. Don't worry about how many rows of whatever. So I'm excited about this. I have shown the colors that I'm fading through. It goes from a light blue to a medium blue down into a purple, into a beautiful deep purple. This yarn is Lolodidit Everyday Sock, Hippo 4 Naps, and each of these colors is a word that describes a type of nap or how you feel, like bliss or relax or snooze. And then I'm finishing with Erised, which is a fantastic purple. I love that purple, and it'll be so lovely in here with, see those purples? I love it. So it's a fun, relaxing knit. I really enjoy it. I'm not rushing through it. I'm just enjoying it. So that is Timely by Libby Jonson. And then my shawl, my Naomh shawl. Oh guys, I'm getting so close. I'm probably going to be finished with the second to last chart tomorrow. I think, you guys, it's growing. It's growing. It's starting to look like lace and beads. Now, for some reason, when I film, I always end up in the middle of a row. I don't know how I manage it, but I did it again. So I will take a better picture of this if I can, and I will insert it here. So this is the Naomh shawl. You see it up close a little bit here. I have Madelinetosh Prairie in Envy. Such a good name for this color. It's gorgeous. The beads are check beads. I think they're size 6 or 10, I forget. But they are supposed to glow in the dark. So I have yet to take it in the dark. I keep forgetting anytime I can. I forget. So, but supposedly they glow in the dark. I am looking forward to remembering to figure that out. But that is my Naomh shawl. That is by Renee Leverington, or Goddess Knits. It's not available currently as far as I know. Hopefully it'll be back. It's a really lovely lace shawl. Again, this is a long-term thing, but I'm trying to get through it and it'll be done. The plan is by the end of the month. So next episode, you should be able to see it finished, and I can't wait. I love blocking lace. That's the best part of working lace, is when you get to block it, and especially with shawls, because they bloom and they're just so gorgeous. So I'm really looking forward to this final stage of getting, being able to see the whole lace pattern all come together and then block it. So that is my Naomh shawl. Let's move on to what I'm wearing. Let's dig into my pattern library vault and finished sweaters. This is the Ixchel by Catherine Clark. This sweater, I looked forward to knitting this sweater for years, and it was very intimidating. There are crazy number of charts and they all fit together in different ways, and there was like the fact that this doesn't go all the way around and having to work through that and research what other people have done. I had the yarn for years too, and I finally made it about a year ago. I love it. It is from Pom Pom. Let's see, I can get closer. And it's so pretty, and it's on the front cover. I don't buy Pom Pom in fact, not very often. This is the only one I have bought, but I love this edition, volume. Yeah, whatever the word is. I love it. It's autumn 2018, the moon, what is it? The moon issue. It's so good. You guys, it is so good. Even the way this is laid out is fantastic, because it has gorgeous shots that you can see the sweaters and the different patterns. It's laid out so well because you can see all of these and get some basic information, and then the patterns are toward the back. I love it when magazines, pattern books are set up that way. It's so nice. So first, let me show you the whole sweater. Go. And the back is just like the front. Oh, I love making this sweater. I made a couple of changes. I think it was just, the main change was the hem. I didn't like how it looked when I bound off. For as much time as I spent on this sweater, I wanted a really lovely finish, and I just didn't like the bind offs, so I did a folded edge. I knit it twice the length that I wanted, and then I folded it up under, and I think I Kitchenered it together maybe, or sewed it together. I forget at this point, but I prefer it with that folded edge. It gives it a really nice finish. But I believe the rest of it I made the same, which is saying something for me, because I tend to change a lot of things in patterns. I don't know what, I shouldn't do that as much. I don't always, but sometimes. I don't know. Anyway, look at this volume. Look at these. The moon dust hat, and it has mitts that go with it. I have yarn for this. Look at those. It's just so pretty. It's not overly complicated, but it's really pretty. It's effective, and that's what I like. I like knits that, well, this is not simple. It's very effective, not simple, but so I appreciate the complicated knits, but I also appreciate things that are a little more laid back, but that look really nice. I have the yarn for this one. That's brioche. Oh, I just think it looks so cozy and easy to wear. And I really enjoy brioche. To me, it feels just like a fancy ribbing. I really enjoy it. So there's that one. And then, oh, the sweet sweater, Artemis. I don't know that I would make this one because of the yarn. I don't know why, but it's a nice looking sweater. It's pretty straightforward, a little boxy, but I like a boxy sweater too. Fits nice and easily. I believe I have the yarn for this. Nice shawl, Hecate. Caradwin, have the yarn for this. I love cabled sweaters too. cabled sweaters are so fun. And this is neat. It starts with the cables in the center kind of bunched together, and then they spread out as they go. So neat. Here's a better look at it. Oh, sorry. It just looks so cozy. I hope you can see these. It's not too light. Hypatia. Oh, well, that's that. It has the moon like pattern. It looks like moon craters. It's interesting how it's done. I don't know if I'll make those. And the mittens, oh look, they come together and they make the moon. It's cute too. And then here's my Ixchel. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. There are things that I would probably do better after having done it the first time if I made it again, just because I had the practice. And there are places along here that are kind of tricky with the color work, because this center line goes all the way down, but you don't have color work on every row. So you have to be able to carry, it's sort of like a mix of intarsia, but it's not true intarsia. And then this, I was not going to have to cut, I think it ended up being like 60 strands and weaving those in. That is not the life I live. So I needed a different way of doing it. So I did sort of an alternate version of intarsia, where when I got to the beginning of round, I did a wrap and turn and worked the wrong side back around and had 2 sets of the yellow yarn. I should tell you what this yarn is. It's fantastic. It's Lolodidit. It's her MCN. I think it's Lolo's favorite in Narnia and Stay Golden. And it's toasty. Let me tell you, it's the middle of July and it's pretty toasty. I've not been wearing this all day, but it's so soft too. I'm really enjoying wearing it. But yeah, so you have to be, it's a little tricky to get some of those done. And as I went through, I got better at it. So it's one of those knits where if you haven't done that before, you might want to make a swatch and practice, or just do it and it'll be fine. So, ooh, a sky map. How cool is this? You knit the shawl and then you embroider on the sky map. It's so neat. I love embroidery, and this is like the large version of embroidery. It's so pretty. And moon bow. Have you ever seen a moon bow? I watched, I think it was on Netflix. Will Smith has I think it's like called Earth or something like that. He, I wish I had looked up the name. I'll put it down here once I look it up. But I think it's in the same episode where he goes like into the depths of the ocean, but it shows these people out filming a moon bow. It was the coolest footage, seeing a moon bow. And so I think it's a really neat concept of having that in there. And you know what? Actually, one morning I took a walk and it was foggy, and that's all the patterns. It was foggy, but the sun was rising and it hit the fog in this way that made it looked a lot like a moon bow. It was this like gradient rainbow, but it was grays, and it was the coolest thing. I've only seen it once and I didn't have my phone to take a picture of it, but that's okay. I won't forget it because it was so cool. So I might have to make a gradient of grays of that sweater or something like it. So that is Pom Pom Quarterly, the Moon issue, Autumn 2018. Fantastic resource. So if you like the moon or like some fun, easy to wear patterns that are still really interesting, various levels of difficulty, it's definitely one to check out. So that's it from my library. Let's move on to books. It's been a little while since I podcast last or filmed last, so I have an extra book. I hope you don't mind. But first, I want to talk about my kids' book. It's actually a series of 5 books that go together. It's Wings of Fire. Oh my goodness. My kids have been trying to get me to listen to these books or read the books or whatever for a long time. And we bought them the books and they loved them. And I thought, well, that's great. It's a cute kid book about dragons. But they finally got me to listen to it. And we have been listening to the first 5 books. It's the main series. There are, I think, 15 books. There are a lot. But the first set is 5 books long, and we've been listening to them, and it is so fun. It's a fun read, and it's sweet, and it's not overly complicated. You know, you don't have to deal with adult issues, but there's still things that the kids, you know, the kid dragonettes have to deal with learning about friendships and relationships and saving the world and, you know, their place in life, where they fit into the narrative, the tapestry of life. And it's an interesting series that takes you through a lot of different places you don't expect to go. And it's exciting, and there's action, and there is sweetness, and there's drama, and there's, there are issues that you can deal with your kids, but it's still in a really lovely package. So if you like dragons, or if you have kids who like action, or even if you're just an adult without kids, it's worth a listen. They also have graphic novels of them, at least of some of them. So if that's more your thing, you might also check out the graphic novels. But that's Wings of Fire. I should have said it is written by Tui T. Sutherland, and it's a really wonderful book series. So that's my kids' book. Now let's move on to 2 adult books. Now these are really different books. The first one is Bloomsbury Girls by Natalie Jenner. Now I listened to the audiobook, which was read by Juliet Stevenson. And I love listening to her when she is reading books, when she is, being the narrator for audiobooks. I've loved her since I saw her in Emma with Gwyneth Paltrow. She plays the character that nobody likes, but she does it so well. And but I really enjoy her reading the books. Now, Bloomsbury Girls is set just after World War II in London, and it's about these 3 women, very different women, who all work in the same bookstore, a very old bookstore, and it's the story of how they come into their own. It's just a wonderful story. I enjoy post-war or war stories in England. I don't know why. I just like the tone of them, at least the ones that I've read. It's uplifting, but it's serious, but I learn something about the time period, and I find it kind of fascinating. There was a lot happening for women at that time. There was a lot of struggle, but there was also a lot of success. And it's fun to read about that spectrum of what women went through during that time period. And it's just a well-written book that I really enjoyed. So that's Bloomsbury Girls. It's worth a listen if it sounds like something you're interested in. The last one is different in a lot of ways. It's called The Cloisters by Katie Hayes. It's set in modern times in New York City, and it takes place at the Cloisters, which is part of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's the medieval castle. They deal with the art of the time, of medieval times, and preserving it, as a museum, and also the gardens. It's fascinating. But I figured it kind of fit with the moon kind of thing, because it's interesting that it delves into tarot cards. I listened to this because it was recommended by another knitter that I love her book recommendations. I've mentioned her before on here because I love her book recommendations. Jilly of Mother of Six Stitches. I got that wrong. Yes, Mom of Six Stitches. I still remember her as Vegan Jilly or Knitting Broomstick, so sorry. But she recommended it and said it had a witchy feel, and I love a discovery of witches, and so I thought, well, that sounds really cool. I didn't even read what it was about before I borrowed it from the library or, put a hold on it. So it's not a book that I would naturally gravitate toward, in that I don't tend to read suspense very often. So it was a little different, and it wasn't witches. It was like this fine line between tarot reading, believing it, not believing it, to what degree do you believe it? It was a really interesting delve into that. That I wasn't really expecting, but I was pleasantly surprised. It was very interesting. And the relationships between different people and the co-workers, and it kind of kept you on your toes about, well, who did this? Well, what was this? What really happened? And you find out things toward the end that, if I'm being honest, I wish I'd had more time to process. Like, I wish the author had spent a bit more time on it, because it was really good stuff. But overall, really well written, really enjoyable. And it was fun to learn a bit about the medieval museum situation, what is going on in the cloisters, a place that I've never been. It was a fun thing to listen to. I really enjoyed it. So that's The Cloisters. If tarot cards are not your thing, then you probably don't want to read this. But it is not, if you're kind of on the fence, you'll be fine with it, I think. So that is my book report. What I've been reading for the last 3 weeks. Well, Wings of Fire took a lot longer than 3 weeks, but I just finished it up. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to check out my patterns on Ravelry under Jocelyn Peters Designs, and on Etsy at MTN Song Designs. I'm on Instagram, Mountain Song Designs, and I have a blast writing on Substack. Every week I put out a new piece of writing. It's usually pretty short. It's not necessarily inspirational or uplifting, but I try to be positive and bring just a little bit of light into your week. And it always relates back to knitting, because everything in life relates back to knitting, right? That is it for me today, and I hope to see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out some of my other episodes if you are new here. See all of the other things I've been knitting. Check out the progress I've been making on my WIPs. And I hope to see you next time. Sláinte and happy knitting.
Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads.